Hey, ladies, welcome to High Heels and Destiny. Today we have Airee Smith, better known as Airee, the fitness coach, on board today. Hey,
Hey,
Airee.
hello. Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here, have this conversation, hoping that it pours something into somebody who needs it. Excited.
I am just happy to have you here. We're going to jump right on to it, Airee. So today we're going to talk about health and fitness because we know that health and fitness is something that's really, really important right now. And bodies are something that's really, really important right now. So we just going to kind of just dive right into it and just be able to, give some information to people that they can be able to help them with their health lifestyle, because health is a lifestyle, is a journey. It's not something you do for 90 days and 60 days and then your life is just back normal. It is a journey and it is a lifestyle. So Airee, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah. So currently, I have my fitness business, Airee Fitness. This business was born out of my own personal journey. So I went on a journey to just basically get my life together. I like to let people know my journey started with this idea of positivity and self-love. So I found myself as a very pessimistic person. I like to be honest about that. I was not very positive back in the day. I was not healthy and all the things. So I started there, just really changing how I looked at life. Looking for more from a more positive standpoint, talking to myself better, like how I spoke to myself. And from that, I realized that a lot of the actions I was taking was not showing myself that I loved myself. So out of that, I started working out, started to choose better food options, and was successfully able to lose 80 pounds and reversed my insulin resistance. So I had insulin resistance. I was able to reverse that. I also had high cholesterol. I was able to reverse that. So out of this journey, I was able to start a business because that turned into just so many people, women specifically, asking, how do I do this? How do I lose the weight? How do I battle my insulin resistance? How do I battle my depression, my food addiction, all of that? And taking my own journey, I've been able to start a business to help other women do the same. Before that, though, I was a teacher. So my background is in the sciences, which is directly related to what I do now, which is just shows you how God puts you on certain paths for a reason. I was a classroom teacher, but now I teach women how to, be successful on their weight loss journey. So it was all things happen for a reason. So I left that world of education and have now entered the world of health and fitness, but still educating people on how to live their healthiest life.
Well, let me be the first to say that you look amazing.
Thank you.
What do your t-shirt say? Healthy is not skinny. Ooh, I like
Healthy, not
that.
skinny. Yeah, that's the mantra. The goal is to be healthy, not skinny. Like we're not trying to be skinny. Healthy does not have to be 100 pounds. Like I can be 200 pounds and be healthy. Like, so that's my healthy, not skinny. That's the goal.
Okay. So my question to you is, what does health mean to you and how important is it?
My health is more important than just about anything. Like outside of Jesus, you know, there's not much that comes in front of my health. And the reason for that is I have learned and understood that if we want to live all these we want, all these goals we have, these things we want out of life, if we're not healthy, we won't achieve them. I ask a lot of women when they struggle with going to the gym or, choosing healthy options. I say, well, why do you go to work every day? And say, well, I have to pay bills, I have to take care of my kids, I want nice things and all of that. I say, well, if you were not healthy, you could not go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Right? If you get a cold, you can't go to work. If you break a limb, you can't, you might, all of these things, your health plays into all of that. And so having my own health battles around my insulin resistance and all of that, my family being prone to diabetes and high blood pressure and all of those things, it was important for me to no longer be on medication. It was important for me to then set an example for like my now nephew and other women and other young ladies that I mentor, that our health really determines our quality of life. And if our health is poor, our quality of life is poor. And that's just the way we look. If we're unhealthy and we constantly have to go to the doctor because we're sick, we're constantly on medication. That means we're spending all of our money at the doctors and on meds. So now right, it's all connected. And when we link it all together, we will prioritize living the healthiest life that we can. And it doesn't mean that you can't have fun. It doesn't mean that you can't eat some cake on your birthday or some wine after a long day. It just means that you do everything in moderation, and balance is key. But I like to connect that for women. But my health is at the top of the list. Like, it has come, it has caused some rifts sometimes with friends and family where I'm like, nope, I'm not eating that, or nope, I'm not doing that, or nope, I'm not going there. But I know that if I'm living my healthiest life, I'm living the best quality of life that I can. So it's really important.
That's good. Most people believe that if you're small, then you're healthy. Is that true?
that, that, my face, right? Like, that is the biggest misconception. And even before I was in the space that I'm in now, even when I was overweight, I was teaching. I had a dance company, so I would teach dance in different cities in the summertime. And I would tell the young ladies, like, just because you're skinny does not mean that you are healthy, or doesn't mean that you don't have to go like run these laps or work out, because the size of the body does not determine how healthy it is. Some of the most unhealthy people I know are small.
That's true.
They eat like trash. They're drinking all the time. They might have habits with smoking. They don't work out. They have like all of these things, but they just simply have a higher metabolism, and they're smaller, but they're not healthy. So that is not true.
I believe that too. And people have said that for a long time, but that's really, really not true. What does a healthy person weight look like?
What does a healthy person's weight look like?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna vary. So I teach people not to get hung up on the scale. It's been something I've really been pushing on my stories on Instagram, because muscle weighs more than fat, right? So like, people look at me and believe that I range between 150 and 155. People don't believe that. They're like, oh, I know you're like 130 pounds. No, but I have way more muscle. Like, most of my weight is in muscle. And so if you're a muscular person, or if you have more lean body fat, it's gonna look different. There's no one way to look healthy. And I think that's also a misconception. People just assume that, oh, you have to be small, you have to have abs or whatever to be considered a healthy person. But that's not true. There are some women that I know, who are, like I said, 200, 215, even 250 pounds, who work out every day, are very considerate about what they eat. They drink enough water. They're very healthy people, but they're not 150 pounds. So it doesn't look one way. It's really about what you adopt into your life. What kind of foods are you eating? Are you moving your body, on a regular basis? Do you have enough water intake, to flush out toxins in your body? It's really about that. It's really about what you do, and not what you look like.
I completely agree because, I weigh 195 pounds and it don't look like it. And it's like, you weigh 100, but it's like my body have so much muscle, and it's just regular being like that. Like, I'm really solid. So I can lose 20 pounds and someone can maybe think that I'm maybe 175, but in actuality, I'm really not. It's because my body holds so much muscle. So, and it took me a while to accept, like, okay, you're not going to have that low number on the scale because your body is made up of so much muscle.
Right. And people have to learn about, body types. You have like endomorphs and mesomorphs and like all these different things that when you get into like the health and fitness world, people try to like teach you about different body types, but our bodies are different. Somebody's hold more water, somebody's have more muscle, somebody's hold more fat, somebody's have a higher metabolism than others, which is why you have to find a regimen that works for you. Everything doesn't work for everybody. Even when I tell people how I lost the weight, I preface it by saying this might not work for you. I want to find what works for you. None of my clients are on the same regimen because they all have different goals and different bodies. So it will require different things for their health journey. So that's why I say it's not about what you look like. Don't get caught up on the scale and what size jeans you wear and all of that. It's really about how are you pouring health into your body. And that's really what it's about.
Okay. I remember you stated that food started to become addictive. How does that begin? How does one begin to cling to food?
Yeah, food is hard. And I never shy away from expressing or sharing that food is a really hard thing to overcome. How does somebody become what was the question again?
Let me go back to it.
How does somebody become
How does somebody I remember you saying that food was addictive. How does one start to begin to cling to food?
yes, how do we begin to cling to food?
Mhm.
So I think it's really when we experience certain emotions or certain feelings and we alleviate those feelings by eating. So if I'm sad, right, then maybe I'm gonna go grab me some ice cream because I like that and it makes me feel good. So it could start just as simple as that. Or a lot of times in life, especially younger, we start to associate different things in our life with food. So it's like, it's my birthday, I get cake, I get ice cream. This makes me really happy, right? And so we subconsciously develop that over time because different things are happening, right? Especially in the Black community, somebody passes away, we go to a repast, it's full of food. Typically it's food that clings to us a little bit, it's food that sticks to us and makes us feel good. It's going to be things like mashed potatoes and just like breads and a lot of things that just like make you feel really full when you feel low like in life. And so I think certain things like that start to make us identify certain foods with certain feelings, and we don't even realize it. We start to do it really, really young. And so then as we get older, especially if we start to have health and weight issues, we start to identify those same things. I want to feel better. Okay, well, I'm going to go get something sweet because sweets, when I was a kid, I always got sugar when I didn't feel good, or I always got sugar, at a party to make me, and that made me happy. So we start to associate different types of food with different types of feelings. Um, and it starts subconsciously, and then you have to do the work to separate wanting to satiate food or feelings for food, because that's really difficult, and that's how a lot of people end up overweight because they feel they got a promotion at work, we go eat. We somebody passed away, we go eat. um it's my birthday, I go eat. Like everything is surrounded by food, whether you're in the Black community or in America, period. Like everything is surrounded by food. So that can be really hard for people.
I think that's really good too, because like even if you go through, like if you have a breakup or something, you be like, well, girl, go get you some ice cream or some cake, and then so we attach those emotions. So when those emotions come back around, we remember like, okay, this what made me temporary, because it's just a temporary feeling, feel good for the moment. Or if you stress, you go drink. And then next thing you know, that become an addiction. So I do, you like you say, it's definitely right that we attach those emotions to that temporary feeling, and then the next thing you know, it becomes a habit, a hobby, and we
Yeah.
cling to it.
Yeah. So then that's what happens next, right? Like you made a good point. So we attach the feeling, like young, growing up, we start to attach these feelings to certain foods. Then we start to, like when I was teaching, every Friday we would go to happy hour because we were so burnt out, we were so tired, but also so happy. So it's like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go drink. And so that becomes a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now every time and so now it's a thing every week, but then now I'm stressed on Wednesday, I want a glass of wine. I'm stressed on Tuesday, I want a shot of tequila. Like, and then it just turns into like a thing. And then sometimes not everybody develops addictions to certain things because there are various types of addictions, but we get into patterns. And then those patterns can create problems. So
Okay. I have heard that it's not all about the food, but it's the emotions or the mental state behind it. Is it true? Which, yeah, that's pretty much what we just said. It is because, you know, you'll see, like, you can see somebody that's maybe overweighted and people automatically assume like, well, she just needs to stop eating. But like, I be watching this show with my daughter called The 600-Pound Life.
Ooh,
And so it's always attached to an emotional thing, whether that person may have got molested, rape, abandonment. It's really not about the food. It's the emotions or something that happened, a traumatic event that caused them to eat, which is comforting to them. And it becomes an addiction, but it's really not about the food. I heard somebody say, it's not the food, it's the habit that's behind the food. It's the problem that's behind the food.
Yeah, it's most of the time, you know, and people need to stop saying that. So if you're out there and you've ever told somebody just stop eating, it is not that simple, right? Like it is not as simple as just saying like, oh, well, don't eat pizza. Like, no, I'm not eating pizza just because I can't stop eating pizza. Mm-hmm. I'm eating pizza because I'm sad and depressed. And this is one thing that I've attached that feeling to that makes me feel better. And so when people are struggling with food, and what I do with my clients as well, we try to get underneath that. Like, what is the feeling that causes you to eat? Like, what are you feeling when you want that ice cream? Okay, what caused you to feel that? Okay, well, what did you do before that? So it's all about working backwards to get to the root of the problem, because the root of the problem is the emotion or the poor relationship or the toxic relationship or whatever. Like, it's not the food. The food is rarely ever the issue. And so you got to uncover those emotions that are under that.
And I think that's kind of bad, because somebody can see somebody big and be like, well, she needs to just stop eating. But the small person can have the same habit, but you don't put that off on them. But it's just because a person is bigger at body weight, then you're going to automatically kind of judge them.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like I said, there's some of the most unhealthy people I know are smaller people, and they too can suffer from the same kind of issues where they're attaching food to emotions. But again, their metabolism might be high, so it doesn't show on their body in the same way as it would as somebody who is struggling with their weight. So yeah, it's definitely a thing people need to be conscious of when we're talking to people about their food or their eating habits. There's so many other things that could be going on, and we need to just be more sensitive to people.
When you started eating unhealthy and gaining weight, what did those days look like? Was it an emotional thing? Was it a bad relationship? Was it a financial thing? Was it life just sucked? What was it?
So I think the biggest thing was I was in a job that I was not happy in.
Oh, that's me.
And so being in a job, like, you're going to a job every day, you know, I went to work every day, Monday through Friday. And to wake up, like, I would wake up some days like crying on my way to work. Like, that's how like much I didn't like going to the job that I was at. And then that just spawns, you know, attaching those feelings. Like, I'm like, okay, well, this job stressed me out today. I'm about to go get this medium pizza and these wings and eat it by myself. You know, it's Friday now. I'm going to go drink with my friends until you know, or it's Sunday and I'm stressed that I'm about to go to work on Monday. So I'm going to make me whatever I want to eat on Sunday. You know, I'm going to eat a big old breakfast. I'm going to cook me some red beans and rice and chicken. And then I'm going to have me some pound cake at the end. Like, I felt like food was the only way I could feel better by going to this job I hated. So it was really my work, my relationships and all of that weren't in a rough place. And I tell people, when you're struggling with weight, look at everything. It might be a relationship, it might be your job, but there is something that is going on that is not related, that is separate from the food. And for me, it was a job that I could not stand. And I worked, and I was a teacher, and I worked as a teacher for 7 years before I decided that I couldn't do it anymore. So.
And I can relate, because my last job before I stepped out and started, you know, my own business, is that I would leave work every day and I would get me a milkshake. And, you know, milkshake about $4. And girl, I would just be I'm laying back in the car like a dude with my head back, thick milkshake, Girl, just drinking. It's just like the because I don't smoke and I'm not a drinker. I don't drink alcohol. So I'm like, I needed something, which I didn't need, but I told myself like I needed something to release me. So I would get these thick, big old milkshakes, and I'm talking about I will be sipping on it like it's some wine all the way home because it released me. And it's just like, oh my God. Or if not, if I couldn't get the milkshake, I would stop at McDonald's and get me a big ice cream cone, and it'll just be running down my face, and I'm just eating and driving and eating and
But
driving.
isn't that interesting, right? Like you're like, I need something. Like I need something to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thing, and a lot of us have this issue and we struggle with it. But I feel you. I love a good milkshake because that was I used to go get milkshakes too from Burger King. They had like Lucky Charms milkshakes. All that. People was like, I never knew they had that. I'm like, I did because I
I
was
like the
eating
Oreo one. I like the Oreo one. Oh, that Oreo one is so good with the whipped cream on the
so
top.
good.
And they be so thick. And it's like when you drink it, it's just hard to come up, and then you have to get the straw and pick it up, girl.
Yes. And I think, and then too, outside of working a job that I wasn't happy in, before I got started working on my health, I didn't believe that the benefit of being healthy outweighed the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the cost was higher, even in the most specific kind of way. I'm like, I can go to Burger King and get 2 Whopper meals for $10, but you want $20 for a salad? Nah, I'm gonna go to Burger King. So like my mindset was off too. Not realizing like that, yeah, that $10 combo is gonna cost you less money physically, like physical money, but your health is suffering. Like the cost of your health was a lot higher, and so I had to shift my thinking around that. But yeah, it was like a mindset thing, a job I hated, and then battling my emotional attachment to food. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what was a turning point in your life? At what point did you say enough was enough?
I was at Burger King. That was my favorite spot. Burger King was my spot. Okay.
So this okay. So this was the next question. So we're gonna go ahead and put the two questions because you about to tell the story. So the next question was, can you share the story about the GPS and Burger King? Because I know you can link it together.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, but this story is like it is a critical part of my journey because it was literally the turning point for me. But at this point in time, I was on a very restrictive, like 30-day diet. I had bought a program, and it was like one of those diets where you're eating chicken breast and asparagus and ground turkey and broccoli. Like I was eating absolutely nothing that I loved. And I was leaving work feeling really drained after teaching all day, and was like, if my GPS takes me past the Burger King, that means I need to stop the Burger King. Again, mindset issues, right? Because my route home would take me 2 ways: one, no Burger King; one, Burger King. So I was like, if it takes me this way today, this is where I'm going. Of course, I passed the Burger King, pull in. They had the 2 Whopper meals for $10. That's what I ordered. Very specifically, I got one with cheese, one without, because I wanted to taste both. I got fries with one. I got onion rings with the other.
It's a Thanksgiving meal.
Yes. And then I was like, let me just get water, thinking I'm doing something. Let me just get water. But then I had to have that Lucky Charms shake on the side. Got my meal. Pulled out, ready to take the rest of my route home. And I was like, I got to eat all of this in the car because I did not want my boyfriend to know that I had stopped, because he knew I was doing this 30-day thing. I was like, I don't want to stop. I don't want him to see that I stopped and had this Burger King. So I'm starting to eat. At first, I'm like, oh, yes, so good. But then it like hit me, and I just started crying. Like, it was the craziest thing. Like I just couldn't even control it. And I just kept asking myself, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And now that's not to say that I did not finish that food, because I did finish it. Because I'm like, I'm not wasting my money. I did finish the food. And I said, you know what? I gotta let this go. This is in the past. And I gotta keep moving forward on this program that I bought. And then I had to fake it when I got home because me and my boyfriend lived together at that time. And I had to fake it. I was like, he was like, oh, you gonna eat your turkey and whatever? I was like, uh-huh. And I had to sit up there and eat that after I'm stuffed from 2 Whoppers. But that moment, that question just stayed in my brain. Like, what are you doing? And why are you doing this? And then came the question of like, this is not how you love yourself. This is not how people who love themselves treat themselves. And I took those questions and I wrote them in my journal, and I kind of allowed those questions to continue to come up. And I would look at them and stay in that space. And in that space, I was able to really just grab hold of my life. It was hard. I mean, it was some days where I, didn't do my best, but I think people get caught up on making the journey look perfect, and it doesn't have to look perfect. I still would enjoy nights out. I was in a relationship at that time, so I would still go out with my boyfriend at the time. I would still, celebrate my birthday. I would still do things, but I really had to change my life. And I have not been to Burger King since that day. That was in 2018. And yeah, that was like March 2018, February, March. And I was like, I can't go back. I just can't go back. It's one of those places I probably never have Burger King again, but it's okay. Cause I just don't even know. Like, I tried to go once and I just bursted out in tears. I think the experience of that story was just so traumatic. And I tell people, we all have our moment. Like, our moment is going to happen and you don't really know that. I didn't know that was going to be my moment. I didn't know that was going to be the start of my health and fitness journey. I just knew I had enough of treating myself like that.
And can we make this really short? Like, I remember you said something to the distinct as it's worse when you have a food addiction, because when you have a drug and alcohol addiction, it's not something you got to have. But being addicted to food is something you still got to battle with and you got to meet daily. How do a person meet with their enemy daily?
I'm getting emotional now. Yeah, I still struggle with my food addiction. It's something that I'm really like honest about. And people are like really, really difficult on people who struggle with food, which we've talked about earlier, because people just want you to feel like, oh, you can just stop eating. But the difference, like you just mentioned, with like if I had an alcohol addiction, I can stop hanging around my friends who drink. I don't have to go to a bar, right? Like I don't have to put alcohol in my pantry. But I have to eat. If I want to live, I have to eat. I have to eat every day. And so every day I come face to face with my addiction. I mean, an hour and a half ago, I could not stop thinking about food. I just wanted to eat. I was just like, I want to eat. I want to eat now. I had to keep moving. I had to stay busy. I had to just keep working through my to-do list for the day because I fast for 20 hours a day. And so I eat between 2 and 6 p.m. And it was like, it's not time to eat. Like, you got to let that go. But it can be really, really hard. And that's why the change has to happen with the type of food you eat, because you have an issue with that emotional relationship with food. You have to learn that what I eat is important now. So for me now, what I eat is important. Like, I have to have salads, and I have to have cold pressed juice, and I have to have yogurts and fruit and veggies, because that's what I have to keep in my house, because if not, I can easily find myself on a binge. I can easily find myself, back in that space. So coming face to face with it looks different for everybody, but me, I know what I can be around and what I can't. I know what my triggers are. I do a lot of meditation now to identify stressors in my life and things that are, that would normally cause me to eat. And I'm learning other ways to deal with them. I'm learning other outlets to deal with my addiction outside of just running to the food itself.
Okay, good. When you do have those moments, because when people have that addiction to something, wherever it may be, when you do have those moments and you feel like, I want to eat, or just binge and eat, what do that mean? Do that mean like maybe some cookies, some ice cream, some chips, a hamburger, or do that means, well, maybe then rather than eating 2 pieces of chicken, maybe just let me eat 2 pieces of, rather than 1 piece of chicken, let me eat two. What does that look like when you have those moments?
For me, a binge is always going to happen when I'm alone, and it's going to happen really fast. And that happens for most people. Most people binge or overeat alone in their own space. Which is why some of my clients, their remedy is like going to be around somebody else so that they don't eat, right? So it's alone, and it happens really, really quickly. Like earlier, the thought came just as fast as it came, it left. So if I would have given into it in like the first 5 minutes, I would have been in the kitchen binging. But for me, it looks like a lot. Like I could start with like, oh, I'm going to just eat some popcorn, and then I'm eating that. And then it's like, oh, I want some cookies now. And then I'll go grab that. It's like, oh, I want some chips now. I'm going to go eat that. I'm going to eat whatever is there for probably 10 to 15 minutes. And then it goes away.
Okay.
And then sometimes, and you can overeat healthy stuff. Like one day I just could not stop eating hummus. Like I just had hummus and pretzels, and I was like, this is the last chip, and I would go get some more. Or this is the last pretzel, I would go get more. So it looks different for everybody, but for me, it could be anything. Like if I give into it, it's whatever I have available for a solid 10 to 15 minutes. And that's why now if I feel a binge coming on, the first thing I do is set a timer for like 10 to 15 minutes. And I keep busy in that 10 to 15 minutes. Normally that'll make it go away. After that, then, I will take on another action. It's like, okay, let me call a friend or let me go outside for a walk. Like I find something, I've removed myself from the space. Right. So that's the second thing. Like I'm going to remove myself from around my kitchen. So I might take my dog across the street to the park. And if it continues after that, then I might give into it. But typically after either setting the timer or removing myself, I don't want to binge anymore. So
Okay.
today, I didn't binge today. So that
Good.
is a that's a win for today.
Good job. Okay, Airee, you lost a total of 80 pounds by eating healthy and exercising. How long did this process take?
Great question. This process took about 9 to 10 months for me. And you'll hear some fitness people be like, oh my God, that was so fast. But I grew up as like a highly active person, like as a dancer and all the things. So it wasn't a big deal for me to work out a lot. So yeah, it took me about 9 to 10 months, and I worked out and I ate right and I drank my water. No, I didn't have surgery. I get that question a lot. I didn't have surgery. I wasn't taking magic pills or anything like that. I just put my head down and stayed in the grind every day.
And the best thing I learned is when losing weight is to really just do it the right way. Because I took the Alopex, Hydroxycat, and it felt great for the first month. And then and people don't understand, as soon as you get off of that, yeah, it's helping control your appetite now, But once you get off of that stuff, what is going to control it then? So I just learned over the years, like that stuff, like the Alopex and the Hydroxycat and all the weight loss pills, it don't work. So I don't even do it anymore because it's a waste. You lose the weight, and as soon as you stop, you pick it right back up. If you're not disciplined enough, which 9 times out of 10 we're not disciplined enough, we pick it back up.
Well, the issue is when we do quick fixes, we don't actually learn. We don't learn about our body. We don't learn about our triggers. We don't learn about eating healthy. We don't learn like how working out impacts my high blood pressure. We don't learn all of those connective things that we learn on a slower process. So when we take the time to actually learn, how my body loses weight, what foods help me lose weight, all of these sorts of things, we miss that by going the quick route. And those pills will work for you for a few weeks, a month or so. But as soon as you stop taking it and you go grab you a pizza, now you feel like you can gain 10 pounds. But then what happens with the pills, you say like, oh, I had success 2 months ago, 3 months ago on those pills. Let me go buy some more and start again. That's how they keep making money, because they know like, oh, it's going to work for them for a while because we put all these things in to make it work. But you're totally right. You got to learn the right way.
And sometimes taking a pill sometimes can be a disadvantage because it'll give you the attitude, well, shoot, I'm gonna go ahead and eat this pizza and this chicken. I don't think I do just take the pill afterward. And so, it can work against you,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, because that pill is gonna either make you go to the bathroom or
Right.
your metabolism. A lot of them have a ton of caffeine, which just makes you like really revved up. And so, yeah, it creates this false sense of the relationship with food and exercise. Like it makes it non-existent almost, and people feel like they can eat whatever they want.
Right. Okay, so you decided to change your life, have changed hundreds, if not thousands. You have met your 1,000 mark, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so you decided to change your life, have have affected thousands of women. How has that greatly affected you?
Man, I never thought when I started to lose weight myself that I would be in this space. I tell people all the time, like, I didn't want to be a health coach. God wanted me to be a health coach. Just literally came into my life, like, just so unexpectedly. I love what I do, but I tell people, like, if you would have asked me 2 years ago, oh, you're going to be you want to be a personal trainer? I've been like, no, like, what? I don't want to do that. But it affects me every single day, because every day I get, either email, DM, text message from somebody who has been able to change their life for the positive. And it keeps me going, on days where you're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is hard. And so on days where it gets really hard, God always sends me a message. Like today, I was just like, oh, Lord, I have so much to do. I'm struggling. Like, how am I going to keep my head above water? And one of my clients texted me and was like, I'm down 17 pounds. And I'm like, okay, like, this is why I'm doing this. This is why, I'm going to bed late and getting up early and shooting these workout videos and all of this. I'm doing it so that people can live their healthiest life. And these women, especially Black women, can learn how all of this will make them healthier and live longer, better lives. And then they can take that and give it to their kids. Because that's the thing, like we pass poor habits on to our kids, but if we learn good habits, we can also pass those on to the next generation. So helping these women keeps me going. Like, I'm so grateful to them. I tell them all the time, like, I'm so grateful for everybody who has taken one of my programs, taken one of my classes, anything. Like, love them so much.
And just something really quick, I was watching some on TV, and it's been years ago. And when you were saying that we kind of like pour into our kids like bad things or whatever, like you remember like when we was young growing up and we were like, mommy or dad, I'm full. And they could like, eat all the food on your plate. And so that's something that developed in our mind when we eat as an adult, that even though we were full, we got to eat everything on the plate, because that's what's being instilled in us, is to eat everything on your plate. And so I did that too. And then I had to like realize as a parent, like, girl, she full. You like, don't make it eat it. So when my child tell me like, hey, I'm full, I'm like, okay, throw it away. But throw it away. But we always been taught, no, you can't waste money, eat everything on your plate.
Which is why I said, like, when I had that, I'm crying tears, but I'm telling myself, like, you can't waste this $10 you just spent on these 2 Whoppers. Like, I didn't need 2 Whoppers. I could have let that go and thrown that away, or gave the other Whopper to like a homeless person or something. But no, I felt like, yeah, my mom used to tell me the same thing, like, you need to eat that. I still struggle with that sometimes. Like, I was full the other day and I was like, oh man, I don't want to throw this away. But I'm like, Airee, you done. You don't want it anymore. Like, either pack it up and put it back in the fridge or throw it out.
And can you also just really quickly let them know what was your highest weight? Because I know at one point you just stopped looking at the scale, but the last time you looked at the scale, what was your weight?
The last time I looked at the scale, I was 215 pounds. Okay. And I couldn't even, I was just like, what? I know 2013, 2014, 2015, I was definitely higher than that, but I didn't even own a scale. I refused to get on one after that. But yeah, 215. And then my lowest weight was 135. And then now I'm about 150.
Okay. In April 2020, you got furloughed from your job. How did this allow you to transition to your purpose?
Ooh, that was such a day. So April 3rd was the day my job called me and was just like, yeah, we're going to have to furlough you. I'm like, okay. I think I was sad for 3 seconds. And then I was tired of dealing with them. And then I said, well, God, I've been doing this fitness thing on the side. I had been doing it on the side, I think at that point for about a year. And I said, well, this is it. This is the time for me to see what I can do. I don't have a job right now. At that point in the pandemic, there was not a lot of hiring going on. So 10 days later, I launched my brand new website, brand new everything, launched a brand new membership service, a brand new challenge. Like I just like took all that free time and poured it into my business. And it has been the best decision. I just say now, I don't know if I could ever, well, not, I don't know if I could never go work for anybody else at this
I know the
point.
feeling.
Like,
Yeah.
But I've really, even when I started, I was like, okay, God, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? But he just allowed, even through a pandemic, for me to serve over 1,000 women, in the first 9 months of my business. I hit that number and I'm like, okay, we're doing it. And I've been able to make so many connections with people and just learn and grow. Business is hard, but I'm learning how to do it. And it doesn't feel like work because this is what I love to do. I can sit and talk about health and fitness. I can train people. I can work out. I can do it all day. Sometimes my body be like, you need to go sit down. But I can do it all day. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that my job got rid of me. I'm thankful.
And you know what? The I can't is always my motivation in entrepreneurial. And when I say I can't, when I feel like, maybe I'm not making as much money, as I want to, or maybe I don't want to do this today, or, you have those days in entrepreneur where you feel like today's a great day, today's a bad day. The I can't go back to 8 to 5 is my motivation every day. Because every time I think about, well, this and that and that and that, I always say, I can't go back to 8 to 5. If it's according to God's will, I cannot go back to it. I can't. So that is something that I use to motivate me is the I can't.
I love that. Yeah, I need to put that on my board. Like, I will not go back to a 9 to 5. Yeah, no, I love that.
Mm-hmm. How have your confidence changed since losing 80 pounds, and have you always had high confidence?
So I've always been confident. Especially so growing up as a dancer, you learn this level of confidence in moving your body and all of those things. And so I always had a certain level of confidence, through my entire life. But I think that confidence did take a big hit. It did dwindle a lot after college because my weight just piled on after I was no longer dancing. I wasn't on the step team. I wasn't doing all these things that kept me busy every single day in college. And so the weight started to pile on and I was still dancing in some capacities, but my capabilities in dance were not as great because I had gained a lot of weight. So that hit my confidence. I wasn't booked for certain things because I couldn't wear certain outfits. It wasn't because of my ability. I just couldn't wear certain things according to, people who are booking for different events. And so that hit my confidence a little bit. And so my confidence did take a hit, in being overweight just because of like being a dancer and being in that industry, in that space. And so going through weight loss, that confidence started to come back and I like to tell people that confidence that I have now that I've got back, and also like my confidence is way higher than it even was when I thought my confidence was high. It's even higher now, but that confidence came from being able to show up for myself. And so a lot of people think the confidence comes from like, oh, you lost weight, you can like wear cute clothes and all this. Like, no, the confidence came from, Airee, you can actually show up. You told yourself you were going to show up and go work out every day. You did that. You said that you were going to change your eating habits and you did that. You are able to show up for yourself. So there was a confidence that I got in my ability as a person, an ability to show up for me, and an ability to like be the best version of myself that I can be. And so that level of confidence comes from me proving that to myself.
Okay. What do you see when you look back at the old you versus the new you, and what would you say to the old Airee?
I look back often just because I post a lot of transformational pictures on my social media. And a lot of times I find those pictures and I don't even recognize, that person. You know, for a good 10 years of my 10 to 12 years, I was overweight. And yeah, I don't even, it's like, who was she? Who is she? I don't even know. And so what I would say to her is that never give up. You know, like you will get to the place that you're trying to get to. I never thought in the middle of it that I would get here. So I would tell her to keep going, keep fighting, never give up on what you're trying to do. I would continue to tell her that she's special, you know, because you lose that. Sometimes we rely on other people to tell us that we're good enough or that we're special. So I would remind her of that, and that everything is going to work out for your good.
That's good. And it did work out for your good.
It did.
Okay, so let's talk health. I know you have done intermittent fasting before and it worked for you. So is it important how study tells us to eat 3 balanced meals and snacks in between? Because
Food
I
is
fast a lot. I fast a lot too. Like now I'm going through the stage where I don't be hungry. So if I eat, my first meal for the day is probably about 2, maybe 3 o'clock, and that's just some fruit. And I'm not even hungry at that point. I'm like forcing myself to eat.
So what I tell people is less about 3 square meals. Some diets put you on 6 meals, or like you said, 3 meals, 3 snacks, all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. What matters is, here's 3 buckets I'm going to explain to everybody who's watching. If you're trying to lose weight, you want to eat less than you burn. Simple, right? You want to be eating less calories than you're burning in a day. So if you have an Apple Watch, it'll tell you how many calories you burn every day. You want to be eating less than that if you're trying to lose weight. If you're trying to maintain your weight, you want those numbers to be equal. So if you're burning 2,000 calories a day, you want to eat about 2,000 calories a day. If you're trying to gain weight, you want to eat more than you burn. That's it. That's it. People make it difficult. So let's say I only eat 1 meal a day. I know people who do that. It's called an OMAD diet. They fast all day and eat once. That means that person's going to just eat all 1,500, all 2,000, however many calories in that one sitting. That's all that matters. You can eat those calories in one sitting. You can eat them in 6 different times in the day, 3 times in a day. It doesn't matter. I eat 2 meals and a snack. So I'll eat a meal at 2, I'll have a snack around 4, and I have my dinner at 6, and that's it.
Okay. Well, it made me hungry just thinking about that.
But I get to eat in 11 minutes. So.
Right. Okay. So how important is protein, fruits, and veggies in a diet?
So important. So important. But it's interesting, the study of like the longest lived people, and they're in some part of Italy, like they don't eat a lot of protein. They eat more carbs than protein. So that's been something I've been studying. But if you're trying to lose weight, you want your muscles to be fed. You want your muscles to properly recover after workouts. You want them to have the nutrients that they need. So you need that protein to help your body recover from workouts and to feed those muscles. Feeding those muscles will then help your body burn fat. More muscle means more fat burn. So in terms of protein, it is really important. And any of my clients who are trying to lose weight, I tell them to prioritize protein at every meal. And I give them a lot of protein options that they can use so that they don't get burnt out on just eating chicken or turkey. Fruits and veggies also important. Like your fruits and veggies is where you get those vitamins and nutrients. A lot of people out here, some people know, some people don't know, but a lot of people suffer from nutrient deficiencies. So they'll have like a vitamin D deficiency or, iron deficiencies, and all of those things comes from your fruit and vegetables. They can come from other things like protein and carb sources, but most of the good stuff comes from fruit and veggies. And if people are eating that, then you aren't getting the nutrients that are needed for your body to function at its highest capacity. So you got to get in your servings of fruit. You got to get in your veggies. For me, I don't like eating fruits and veggies, so I drink a lot of cold pressed juice. I buy all the fruit and veggies and I juice them. That's how I get mine in. I also have fruit and veggies in like powder forms that I'll add to my smoothies and things like that. So there's lots of options to get them in, but they're definitely important.
For someone like me that struggles with having low iron, because I'm anemia, what fruits can I incorporate daily to eat to keep
Oh
my
my
iron?
gosh, there's so many good iron. So you can eat a lot of shrimp. Shrimp is good in iron. Beets are really good. People underestimate the power of a beet. Okay.
Hmm.
Beets are so good for you. Celery is really good for you. You want
And
to, red meats are actually good for people who have iron deficiencies. You just kind of want to watch how much of it you eat, but those are really good as well. But there's on
any
the health
fruits?
fruit, they're not coming to the top of my brain right now.
Hmm.
Because my focus has been vitamin C and D and B12, so I haven't been doing a lot of fruit iron research. I do a lot of vegetable iron research for one of my clients, but I'll have to circle back. Maybe on the under the YouTube, once this drops, I'll put y'all some fruit iron examples under there. But definitely some of those things I named are gonna be good in iron for you.
Okay. All right. So, when dieting, is there a way to balance eating fried food versus baked food? Because back years ago, everything had to be baked, boiled, baked. But I have lost weight from eating, fried food. I just don't eat as much of it. It's not about what you eat; it's about how you eat it.
So you can still enjoy your fried foods, like you say, in moderation. Now you
Hmm.
can't have fried chicken every day
Hmm.
and lose weight. Now, unless so here's the thing, like when I talked about those calories, right? So if you're having one meal a day and it's like two pieces of fried chicken and some mashed potatoes and something, you probably will get all of your calories in that one meal. The problem with that is there's not a lot of nutrients in fried food. That is the problem. So all of that stuff we were just talking about, the iron, vitamin D, B12, all of these nutrients and micronutrients that people need, you don't get all of that in fried food because it's now full of just saturated fat that oil and all of that and the flour and all of that stuff. So you're getting more saturated fats in fried foods than you are nutrients. So that is the problem. Can you lose weight and still eat fried foods? Yes. Are you going to get enough nutrients from that? No.
Okay. So what you're saying is more nutrients in baked food.
You're gonna preserve more of the nutrients in like a piece of chicken with it being baked because it's not coated in flour, not being fried in oil. And the thing with oil is every tablespoon of oil, a tablespoon, if you I don't have anything in front of me, but if you think about a tablespoon, right, is 120 calories. And think about how much oil is in a pot when you fry something.
Wow.
It's a whole lot of tablespoons. I don't even know how many, right? Because we don't measure it. All we do is just open the bottle and pour in. And so you're dropping your food in that, and it's just absorbing all of those empty calories because there's nothing in them, nothing
Mhm.
nutritional in that. And so you just walk away. Yeah, you're feeling full and you're feeling good, but there's no nutrient content. So you preserve the nutrient content by baking, broiling. That's why air fryers are really popular now because they use that technology that makes it feel fried, but it's not really fried. Um, so I cut out a lot of fast foods for my clients. I don't eat fried food. I mean, fried foods for my clients. I don't eat fried foods hardly ever.
Mhm.
Maybe once or twice a year, honestly. Because it's just I just need the nutrients, and so I push anybody like you want more nutrients than anything else.
Okay. Um, how can sugars and alcohol affect your weight?
Mm. Sugar. So that's people's biggest struggle with sugars. The issue with sugar is sugar in your body is used to provide you the energy to work out. So when you eat carbs or sugars, your body releases insulin that then is supposed to be used for you to go throughout your day, typically to work out or go to work or whatever. But a lot of times people are eating sugars, they're sitting on their couch. And so that's how people end up with a lot of insulin resistance or diabetes because they aren't using the insulin properly. The glucose, the glycogen, or the insulin, all of those scientific names for sugar in your body. So they aren't using it and aren't burning it off. So it's just sitting and it turns into stored fat. So you want to do your best to limit the amount of sugars that you're taking in, especially if you don't have a highly active lifestyle. I work out 6 to 7 days a week. So I'll be honest, I have sugar every day, like, but it's healthier options. Like I'll have Halo Top ice cream instead of Bluebell ice cream. Um, but you want to be using that sugar. You want to be working out. You want to get up and go for a walk. You don't want to just sit on your couch and eat a bunch of sugar. Alcohol, the issue with alcohol is it has no nutrient content. It is empty calories, and a lot of times people don't consider those calories when they're trying to lose weight. So I tell my clients, like, hey, I want you to eat 1,700 calories a day. They're like, I'm not losing weight. It's been a month. Oh, I wasn't counting the alcohol. You got to count the alcohol, even though the calories there's no nutrients in them, but they still are affecting if you're losing weight or not. The other issue with alcohol is people add sugar to the alcohol. They add orange juice and cranberry juice and ginger ale and all those other mixers, right? Or they're drinking a bunch of like sweet, fruity drinks. And so the same thing is happening. They're not burning that glycogen and insulin off in the way that your body needs to, and then it turns into stored fat. So you got to watch your sugar and alcohol intake. I tell any of my clients who do drink, like, try to eliminate the mixers. Only have 1 to 2 drinks. Every shot of alcohol is 100 calories. I teach them all of these things so that they can go out in the world and enjoy themselves, but also meet their goals. So you got to watch the sugar, people. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You have to watch the sugar. That doesn't mean you can't have sugar, because there's healthy sugar. There's honey, and there's a lot of sugar in fruit. Like bananas are high in sugar. Apples are high in sugar. But that sugar looks different than white granular sugar in a bag. So.
Okay. How can a person stay away from a lot of starches? Because people struggle with starches.
So in the Black community, we like to compound the starch, right? So you'll see this meal a lot in the Black community. Somebody will make spaghetti, right? Spaghetti and meatballs or something like that, where there's pasta. And then on the side, they'll have corn, right? Corn is a starch. Pasta is a starch. When you're making a well-rounded meal, you want to have a starch, you want to have a protein, and you want to have a veggie, or carbohydrate, protein, veggie. So you got to learn what are starchy vegetables, because there are starchy vegetables like peas, corn, carrots. These are starchy vegetables. So they break down in our bodies the same way as rice, bread, and pasta. So we shouldn't pair corn with pasta. We shouldn't pair peas with rice. But that's what happens. So a lot of times that's what's going on. And then, or they'll have bread on the side. They're making a roll. They got a roll with the mashed potatoes and the fried chicken. But you really only need the roll or the mashed potatoes, because that's your serving of carbs. So it's really understanding, what do I need to have on my plate, and making sure I only have one. Which is hard to do in like Thanksgiving and Christmas, because everything is carbs and protein. There's hardly ever any vegetables when I go to people's houses for Thanksgiving. But that's the biggest thing. That would be my biggest piece of advice. Protein, carb, veggie, have one carb. Carbs are good for you though. I'm a carb eater. I would never do keto or any of that. I'm not knocking anybody who does, because it works wonders for a lot of people to lose weight. But I work out too much to not eat carbs. And carbs give us energy. So we need them. They're good for you.
Let me ask you a question. How important is meat in a person's diet? Like for people that are vegan, because I went vegan a while ago, and of course the weight came off, but due to the lack of protein, how important is meat in a diet?
So it's more about the protein than the source. There are better sources of protein than others. Meat is always going to be a really high, really great source of protein. But you can eliminate meat. Like I don't eat beef, chicken, or pork, but I'll still have like seafood, but seafood is not as high in protein as red meat is, right? But I find other protein options. So it's really about getting in enough protein in your body and not necessarily getting it all from meat. So you can have a lot of success with eliminating meat from your diet, but you can also have a lot of success having meat in your diet. You just don't want to overconsume protein. Most people should have somewhere between like 20 and 25% of their daily food intake be from protein. So it's really just about that. So learning about what your body needs to function at its highest, how much protein do you need to reach your goals? And you would just use something like a macro calculator to figure that out, or ask your trainer to help you figure that out. But yeah, you can have success either way, meat or no meat.
Okay, so let's talk body. Everybody wants an Instagram body. You see now that it's proper to get surgery. Can you still maintain your Instagram body after surgery if you're not eating healthy nor exercising?
this is what I tell all my clients who talk about, well, I'm just going to go under the knife. You have to change the habits. If you go under the knife, you go get lipo, you go get a BBL, you go get any of these other surgeries and get the body that you want, but you still eat like crap, you're going to gain the weight back.
Mm-hmm.
You still aren't adopting a daily workout routine or like a weekly workout regimen, you will gain the weight back. So you have to do the work around healthy living, health and fitness, so that you can maintain those results. So I'm not knocking anybody who chooses to get surgery, but you have to pair that still with a healthy lifestyle. So to answer your question, no, you will not be able to maintain your Instagram body from surgery if you are not eating right and working out.
Okay. How can women build or structure their bodies without surgery? For the ones that don't want to have surgery, but they want to like, I want to, get a little butt or, shape their bodies. How can they do that?
So you got to learn like what parts of my body can I manipulate, grow, and shit and shift and change. So like your hips, right? Like people talk about getting hips. That's hard because that's bone. So you can't grow a bone. So you won't necessarily get like hourglass hips, but you can grow your glutes. That's a muscle. So you can grow that. When I was down to 135, I had a lot of I was flat. I didn't have a lot of muscle definition. So you can go back in and manipulate your diet and your workout plan to fill out certain parts of your body that you want. So I was able to like tone up my butt and my legs and all of those things by incorporating more protein, focusing on more strength training versus cardio. So there are small things you can do to shape your body the way you want. But it's really just about knowing what are the muscles that I can actually manipulate and change, and what are some things that I just have to learn to love about my body.
Okay. For women that wants to build their butt, what are some workouts that strictly target the butt area?
Booty. This is always a top conversation.
It's true, like, because back years ago they used to have like the squat challenge. Do squats really build your booty, and lunges?
There are much better exercises for your glutes than squats. Squats are never going to go away, right? If you do a squat properly, that's the thing. People don't do squats properly. With a squat, you got to push up through your heels. People push up through their toes, and that's targeting your quadriceps, which is the front of your leg. You want to push up through your heels, which then targets the glute. That's the major difference. So you can do that. Other great exercises that I love are kickbacks. It's like when you're on the floor and like the donkey kicks, kickbacks, but not swinging the leg, like really like taking it slow and controlled. A glute bridge, that's when you're laying on your back, you lift your butt up. Those are really great, like holding a glute bridge, lifting one leg at a time to isolate it. That's also really good. Leg lifts in a either lateral or a plank position. So if you're in a plank and you lift the leg just up and hold it, it's going to activate that bottom glute. That's really good. Back lunges. So when you step back into a lunge, activate your glute. There are lots of different exercises, tons. You see a lot of resistance bands now. Resistance bands are great to just make your muscles work harder. So adding a band to any of those workouts could also help you grow your glute muscles. I'm working on developing a glute program. It's not coming out for a while, but it's in the works because so many women have asked for like just specific growth around glutes and abs. So we're going to work on that later this year.
Okay. So stomach is another popular area for women. How can a woman begin to get rid of stubborn belly fat? Which I know sugar plays a role in that.
Yeah. And I think another piece of that is learning, like, where does my body, when I gain weight, where does my body store fat? Right. A lot of people don't think about it. Like for me, my body stores fat in my midsection. So if I'm trying to trim my body down, then I need to make sure that my calories are in check so that the weight doesn't just sit in my midsection. But the biggest thing, drinking more water to make sure your body's not holding on to water weight, because that's going to just help your body stay really functioning really highly, and your metabolism is high. So you want that when you're trying to lose that belly fat. You also want foods that are lowering carbs. Yeah, because carbs just act like sugars. They break down like sugars. And so we want to make sure that our carb intake is on the lower side. You don't have to eliminate it, but you just want to make sure you have that one serving right on that plate. That's just getting really good about that one serving. And then people get hung up on crunches. They want to do a lot of crunches. It's not that. You want to have what are called isolated holds when you're trying to grow planks. And so, grow abs. So things like planks, like holding your plank, side plank, forearm planks, like planks are the bomb. There's V holds where like your legs are up and you're holding your arms out. Anything where you have to hold a position and balance your body, that's going to engage your core a lot stronger and a lot better than just doing something like a crunch or a sit up. Those are not bad for you, but you just get more results during it holds versus those things. So drink more water, lower those carbs a little bit, hold those bodies and balance them out. That would be my suggestion.
So question is, okay, for a lot of women that struggle in their stomach area, they like to wear body garments. Is that healthy to wear body garment compressing against the stomach?
So I use like a sweat enhancer, like a sweat wrap.
Sweatband. Mm-hmm.
Like a sweat. I have one from a company that I really love called Hella Snatch, because theirs is like a sweat inducer, but it'll also like kind of keep you tight. But I just use those as sweat enhancers to like, again, eliminate that water, any water that's being held in my abdominal area. As far as waist trainers go, the ones where you see with all the bone in and they like sucking you in really tight, those are not healthy for you because they are pushing your organs all around. They can also cause really bad injuries if you're working out in them. So a lot of people have experienced like working out and you feel like your back strain because it's like pulling on you. They're hard to breathe in, which if you're trying to like go run on a treadmill or do some kind of high intense workout, you need to be able to breathe. And sometimes they can restrict your breathing. What I tell, like, if you really want to use a waist trainer, some people have had like massive success on using them. I used to wear them. But I would just say wear it in short bursts of time. If you want to incorporate that, no longer than like 20 minutes. So just wear it like if you're cleaning up your house. Like if you vacuum it today, like just wear it while you're cleaning up and then take it off. But some people will try to leave it on, go work out in it, go to work in it. That's just too long to be compromising your organ system and your breathing. And it could potentially cause injury. But sweat enhancers, sweatbands, people use like, they put like rub stuff on their bellies to sweat. I use one called I Am Drenched, which is really good. Those are just like things to just enhance your workout, which is fine.
And another one, a good one I used, I saw this on YouTube years ago, is Aveline, the makeup cream. And you get the makeup cream that boxers use and you rub it. You get it from Walmart and it's called Aveline. You rub it on your stomach, the front and the back. It's really, really thin. You put your sweatband on and it does a great job, like a really, really good job. I learned about it years ago.
Yeah. Here's a big secret. Preparation H.
Oh, I heard about it. Yeah.
Hemorrhoids. So it's used for hemorrhoids, and like to cure hemorrhoids, you have to tighten the skin back up. So if you use Preparation H in conjunction with a sweat cream, it can help tighten up your midsection a little bit. So go buy y'all a tube. Tag me, shout me out because I put y'all on.
Okay, so my next question, and we're wrapping it up. Do self-love play a vital role in loving your body?
Yeah. If I don't love who I am, right? Like who I'm becoming, who I am as a person, then it's harder for me to love the physical piece of me, right? Because self-love has more, for me, it has a lot to just do with like, do I love the person I'm becoming? Do I like how I treat my friends and my family? Do I like how I talk to people? Do I like the person that I am? Do I like myself as a business owner, right? Like, would I hang out with me? I hang out with myself a lot. Like I'll take myself on a date. Like, do I like my own company? And I think when you get into that brain space and work through, like, do I like me? Then it makes you really get in tune with your body and appreciate your body more. Like even now when I have days where I'm like, ooh, girl, you've been eating a little bit, let's see. But it's like, girl, you're good. You look good. You feel good, and so that pours into it. So that's why I said, like, way back when we were talking about the start of my journey, a lot of the start was about loving myself and who I am and being the best version of myself that I could be inside, which then translated to me being the best version of myself outside.
Okay. So, question, do you feel that social media has affected the way that women view their bodies and compare themselves to other women?
Yeah, and I think, I love a good filter, but like between filters and then like we mentioned Instagram models, it's just this idea that that perfection is real. And like perfection is not real. I don't
Mhm.
even know why the word is there. There's no perfect person. We all have things that we could be doing better, getting better at, right? There's no end in sight, which is why I tell people that like when you start a weight loss journey, don't think of it like, oh, when I hit this, I'm done. Or when I get to this weight, I'm done. When I reach 30 days, I'm done. You're never done. It's never perfect. Even now, I'm like, I want to get to 15% body fat. That's my goal right now. I'll hit that goal and there'll be something else, right? And so Instagram has created, or just social media in general, has created this idea that people can be perfect. Their bodies can be perfect. Their face can be perfect. Their hair can be perfect. And not really, not really. And the more we can get out of this idea of perfection, we will start to learn to love the flaws that we do have and see how they create character in us as people, in our bodies and our personalities, etc.
I completely agree. I completely agree with that because when you love yourself like me, I got a gut. And I'm not putting on no bodyguard. I'm like, this is my stomach. This is what it is. And I'm just going to embrace it, you know? And I feel like I found more freedom in embracing myself than, trying to look for perfection. Because when you look for perfection, what ends up happening, it affects your life. You be like, well, I'm not going to go here because my body don't look like this, or I'm not going to put on this swimsuit. And years pass by, and because your body don't look a certain way, you miss out on so much of your life. You have to just come to a place. Accepting doesn't mean getting comfortable with it, but it means embracing it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because I had a client say, like, I'm not gonna take my trip to the beach until I hit 175. It's like, well, what if life happens and we don't get there as fast as you want? What if life happens and God forbid, a tragedy happens and you can't go? Like, don't put off your life until,
Mhm.
learn to live in the midst of and allow that living to propel you towards your goals that you're trying to reach. I love that. Yes.
Mhm. Okay, so Airee, how do you help your clients to embrace them on how to accept their bodies?
I push my clients to see every win, no matter how small, no matter how big. And that teaches them that they are always on the right path. So I had a client who lost 1 pound last week and she was so upset. She was like, I wanted to lose 3 pounds. And I'm like, you losing 1 pound is better than gaining a pound. It's better than gaining five. You got to love every single win you are having. You worked out 3 days this week, right? That's better than working out 2, 1, 0. These are things you should be happy about. So I teach them how to celebrate small wins, which then teach them how to appreciate themselves and what they're committing to their bodies and their health. And then that in turn makes them love themselves,
And
right?
one quick question. I always hear women say this, like they've been on a weight loss journey, they lose weight and they get to this plateau place and they can't get past that. And I have always been taught to trick your body, whatever you've been doing, do something different to
Yeah.
get over that plateau point.
Yeah, that's very true. So that tricking idea is real. And what I try to tell people as well, plateaus are normal. Our bodies sometimes they just want to break too. They
Mhm.
want to break. Like if you've been killing your body every month after month after month to lose 8 to 10 pounds, and you hit a plateau, that could be your body just saying, "Look, I need a minute." Just like sometimes your computer would just shut off. You didn't even do nothing. It was just like, I need a minute. And if the same way I teach my clients with those small goals, the same way if you say like, okay, let me just keep working through this like I'm not losing right now, but I still need to work out. I still need to drink my water. I still need to eat well. Then you will get past it. Or you start to make small changes. Sometimes I'll tell my clients, okay, add one more workout to the week, right? And let's see if that pushes us past it. Maybe we drop the carbs, to one serving a day. Maybe we drop our overall calories by 200 to see if that pushes us out. But we try different things. But the biggest thing I like to stress is that plateaus are normal. And
Mhm.
sometimes if you just listen to your body, it could be your body saying, look, I need a rest day. I need some time. Just enjoy me for a second. And then we get back to it. So yeah.
Okay. How can women begin to stay focused on loving themselves and their lives without social media influence?
Focus on you. I think that's the biggest thing. Focus on you. You are important. You are a priority. You are should be your focus. When we put our focus on other things, that's when we start to get into the spirit of comparison, right? When we put our focus on, let me see what she looked like. Let me see, oh, let me go see so and so page or whatever. That's when we start to say like, man, I wish I had this, or oh, look at that, or whatever. And that's sometimes, healthy competition is good, but when we start to compare ourselves against unrealistic expectations, that's when it gets dangerous. So put the focus on you. How do I feel today? What do I need today? Right? And like these are always questions that I ask myself. What do I need today? What does Airee need? And I make sure out of whatever comes up for me, I give myself at least one of those things every day. Take time for yourself today. Spend time with yourself. Take yourself out on a date, even if you're in a relationship. Go out with yourself.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
like learn who you are inside and out. So I would just say put that focus on you, and I promise if you put more focus on you, you'll love yourself more.
And we down to the last two questions. So you said something, and I had to adopt this. I listened to your podcast interview last night. And you said something that really stuck out to me. You said how you talk to yourself matters. Can you see the message? Can you use that message to encourage women? And I was like, how you talk to yourself matters. I love it.
That's huge. That is
Yeah.
huge. And
Yeah.
we don't realize subconsciously how we talk to ourselves.
Mhm.
If you're running late, you're like, oh my God, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you move a little fast? You should have got up. Like all of these thoughts are running through your brain, but they're
Mhm.
just perpetuating the negative feeling. So how you talk to yourself is important. Like, oh, that is like, I preach that every day. Feel free to take it, share it, give it to everybody.
Because I think it matters, and it plays a big role in your confidence. Because like when I was going through a season and I didn't feel like I looked the best or whatever, you have to constantly tell yourself those things. I am pretty. I am smart. I am strong. I am powerful. I am bold. Because if you don't feed yourself that stuff, then the devil come in and tell you you're not pretty, you're not smart, you can't do that. You can be like your mama, you dumb. Who want to date you? Look at your body. Everybody else about to look. So what you say to yourself daily, like when we sit down and eat daily, or we put on our makeup daily, or we brush our teeth daily, we should talk to ourselves daily.
We have to talk, we have to feed into ourselves. The problem is now we rely on everybody else. We rely on social media to like our images. We rely on everyone else to tell us you're doing great, you look good, I like your hair. No, I look good. I tell myself that, oh, you look good today. You
Mm-hmm.
feeling good today. I'm proud of you today. I forgive you. Sometimes we holding on to stuff, we don't forgive ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about like, and that's why I say, how do you love yourself more? Put more energy onto you and really
Love
focus
it.
in on how you talk to yourself. Like pay
Mm-hmm.
attention.
Mm-hmm. What you feel or say towards yourself reflect on the outer. And I always teach women like you can't, it matters, because if you get into relationships or a relationship, and if that person don't tell you, hey Airee, today you pretty, then you're gonna walk around, you got a whole attitude with your man or your husband because he tell you pretty. But you gotta always have that confidence inside. I'm beautiful, I'm strong. If someone tell you that, that's just a plus, because I already know this.
Exactly. And I will say, my last relationship that I was in, I was overweight in that relationship, and I went through this weight loss in that relationship. It dissolved after my weight loss, but most of that relationship, I was overweight and I was relying on somebody to feed into me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then coming on the other side, now I'm feeding into myself. That also highlighted other issues that were in that relationship. And so you have to give yourself what you need first. And you can't rely on anybody else to do that for you. And that's in any relationship, whether it's with your family, your friends, a significant other. You gotta give you what you need, and that's the only way you can give other people what they need. Because I was sitting in the mirror calling myself ugly.
Mm-hmm.
My attitude was ugly towards other people,
Mm-hmm.
which impacted relationships. It dissolved friendships, it dissolved my relationship. And so now I'm more conscious about my actions, what I pour into myself, and how I then deliver myself to the world. I know to so many people who knew me before, I'm not even the same person. They don't even recognize who I am. They just like, wow, like you out here, this is all new you. I'm like, it is. And I'm a much better person. I'm a much conscious person because of the changes that I made for myself.
Mm-hmm. That's good, because everything begins with self. That's something that I preach. Everything begins with self. Before you can have job, money, everything starts with self, and self start with the mind. Like everything's begin with renewing your mind before you can be in a healthy relationship, before you can lose weight, before you can do anything in life. The Bible says change start with the renewing your mind. You have to renew your mindset, because if you don't renew your mindset, you're going to go into new situations, but the results is going to look the same. So you have to renew your mind on anything that you do in life.
Yeah.
Anything.
All the scriptures I'm reading this month, like the first month of this year, are on the renewing, new beginnings, because just to stay in that space of like, we got to be better. We just have to be better people.
So my last question to you, if you had one thing to say that could change another woman's life, what would it be?
Woo! Okay. This is
You
me.
got this, girl. You got this.
To change a woman's life, I would tell them that they are important.
Mm-hmm.
Women, we often find ourselves being natural givers. We always are concerned with everything else and everybody else, and we leave very little for ourselves. So if you're listening to this, I want to tell you that you are important. Yes, your kids are important. Your husband is important. Your job is important. But you are more important than all of those things. And I'm not saying like to neglect your kids or neglect anything else, but if you don't have what you need, can you be the best person for the people around you? And if the answer is no, then you have to find the time to give yourself what you need. If you need 30 minutes a day to work out, take 30 minutes a day. It's not the end of the world. So take that and use that in every single day, like, and ask yourself, what do I need today? What do I need today to be the best version of myself for my kids, for my job, for my family, for my husband, for myself, right? Like, what do I need? And then find that time, 5, 10, 15 minutes a day to give yourself what you need, and it will drastically change how you see and operate in this world.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you shared. And before you leave, I need for you to let them know your website, how to follow you on Instagram, Facebook, email, Cash App, whatever you want to share about your business that they say, hey, I like her, I want to work with her. How can they contact you, Airee?
If you are ready, ladies, to start living your healthiest, happiest life, then I can be found everywhere at Airee Renee. So my website is aireenrenee.com. My Instagram is Airee Renee. Facebook, Airee Renee.
Spell
Twitter,
that.
Renee. It's AIREERENEE. So lots of E's. But when you find me, you can find me everywhere. If you want to reach out and talk about your journey or just connect, my email is in my Instagram. So you can just hit the email button and shoot me a message. I'm always talking to people about their goals. But I am just here to make sure that women, especially women of color, can avoid the pitfalls that I did and live their healthiest life. It's all about just longevity and being the healthiest person we can be right now. And so if that's where you are and you want to learn more about that, hit me up.
Thank you so much. And I want to just thank you. Thank you for just doing what you doing. I just appreciate your journey. It's very inspiring because I think I've been following you now about a year, and you was working out, and I was like, at first I was like, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna try to do this. And girl, this thing I knew, I was sitting on the couch. I'm like, she's doing a way better job than I can ever do. So it's just bad that I just lose the calories by watching her. Like you you have a passion. It's no play. And see, my problem is I like to play and work out. So you have a passion behind what you do. You take it serious. You go hard. I mean, it's no like, okay, let me do this because I'm a strong believer like you need to be a product of the product. And I have saw where people may be coaches, but they body don't reflect what they do. And I'm like, well, you're not about to coach me if your body, you're not gonna have me doing 100 jumping jacks and you know, so you are a product of the product, and you know that matters, and that shows that you're in it, you're real about it, because it's going to show. There's no such thing as a secret. Eventually a secret will get exposed. So you shows that you are a product of your product. Even if you have a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, that's okay. You fall down, you get back up, and girl, you grab your bag and your heels and you are pushing through. So I thank you
High
so
heels and
much.
high destiny.
I thank you so much, and you are
I want
beautiful.
to tell you thank you for having me on here. I thank you for what you're doing for women, like providing them a space to learn and grow and be the best version of themselves. So thank you for everything you are doing, because this has been so great. I've done a couple interviews, but I've had the most fun here.
Oh, whoop, whoop.
Love it. So much fun. I absolutely love it. And I love you. And if there's any other way, you know, I can connect and so into your business, or what you're doing, like don't hesitate to reach out and let me know, because I just love working with beautiful Black women.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're out, and I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.